the UK today, in areas of deprivation, 50% of children are starting school with delayed communication and language skills, and they are therefore unable to express their emotions and their needs effectively. And by the end of the primary school, the gap in academic attainment between children who can communicate effectively and those who can't is 55%, and yet their IQs are within the same range. And in the UK today, 60% of young people in young offenders institutions have poor communication skills, and they are therefore unable to express their emotions and their needs effectively. These are some of the facts that gave birth to a unique approach to teaching and learning, Dandelion Education Philosophy. And these facts led us to ask the question, how can we empower all small children with giant voices, voices with which they can communicate their emotions and needs, voices which can be heard? Let's play the education game. Here we have 3 children who represent the class of 2018. They are 4. Meet Jane, Carl, and Beth. Let's start with Jane. For the first 4 years of Jane's life, she's had TV and music playing in the background. Her parents are busy on computers and laptops and communicating on mobile phones. She doesn't go to an early years setting. Meet Carl. Carl's parents work full-time, so he attends an early years setting for 30 hours a week with 25 other children, where he plays actively with his peers. At Carl's nursery, they maximise the government ratio of 1 teacher to 13 children. Carl is lucky if he has 4 minutes communication with an adult per hour. Meet Beth. Beth's parents also work full-time, and she attends an early years setting full-time. But Beth plays actively with her peers and adult because the ratio is 1 adult to 6 children. Now, let's see what chance do Jane, Carl and Beth have of acquiring those high levels of communication and language. Let's start with Jane. Jane has had few social interactions to help her develop those high levels of communication and language. And communication skills are insufficient. She will struggle to become a successful reader and writer, and she will find expressing her emotions difficult. I'm sorry, Jane, you're 4 and it is too late. Let's see if we can save Carl. At Carl's nursery, they are packed to the rafters with children, and the practitioners are poorly skilled. Adults have little time to talk with Carl, and so Carl is spending most of his time communicating with his peers. He is learning his communication and language skills from his peers, and that is the equivalent of you trying to learn Greek from a 2-year-old Greek child. You probably would learn to say no and thirsty, perhaps, but you wouldn't be able to order a drink at the bar, follow instructions, or understand a joke. I'm really sorry, Carl. You're 4 and it's too late. How about Beth? Now, Beth has had numerous deep and meaningful interactions every day because the ratio is high and the teachers are skilled. And children who communicate for the greater part with articulate, skilled adults will enter school with higher levels of communication and language. And so Beth is ready to succeed. And so we, the early years sector, hand her to you, the primary sector. Please nurture her. She is ready. Oh, you've crushed her. So, how do we give our smallest children giant voices? Let me tell you about the Dandelion approach. We begin a conversation. We talk with children, not at, not even to, but with. We offer respectful, reciprocal conversations with children as our equals. And we insist that children are given the time to talk when they need it and when they want it. We offer philosophical inquiry sessions with concept-rich, open questions, questions that are relevant to children's lives and relevant now Questions that help the children to begin to think, that help them to begin to understand themselves and others and the world around them, actually. And we offer this in a space that is safe and non-judgmental, where neither ridicule nor humiliation have any place. And at Dandelion, children accept that opinions differ. And you will hear children as young as 3 saying, "I don't agree with you, but we can still be friends." There's a lesson for us all in that, isn't there? Children are capable of deep and meaningful dialogues. So please, let's help them to unpick their ideas. Let's help them to travel deep into their assumptions. Let's not shut them down. Let's respect them and value them as individuals with unlimited potential. And this gives them a rich and wide language. And a child without a rich language, whether they're discussing death or fear or love or simply want to climb a tree and can't, then their behaviour becomes their only means of communication. And so, discussing anger or fear or wanting just to climb that tree might all look and sound the same. Like this, perhaps. But if we give them a rich language, if we are their thesaurus, and if we constantly are offering them synonyms and helping them to name all of their emotions, then wanting to climb that tree might sound like this. I feel despondent, anxious, frustrated. I need somebody to help me climb the tree. Unwanted, aggressive, disruptive behaviour in children is often the only language they have. And a child without language is a vulnerable child. A child unable to say no. A child unable to influence how they're treated. A child unable to affect true change for themselves. A child unable to stop an abuser hurting them. Let me introduce you to Lizzie. Lizzie arrived at Dandelion having experienced a number of transitions which had left her unable or unwilling to speak beyond her immediate family. And this left her especially vulnerable. So the staff supported her with visual aids and emotion cards to help her express her emotions and her feelings. And Lizzie joined in our discussions but chose not to participate verbally, and that's fine. However, one day when Lizzie was playing, she decided she didn't like the way the other children wanted to touch her, and she spoke, and she said, "No, thank you." And because the other children had continually seen the model of listening respectfully, they stopped. After this encounter, Lizzie came up to me to tell me how she felt. She had a language and she used it, and she said, "I feel anxious because I think they might try again." And I listened respectfully and acted. And at Dandelion, we introduced a new song to teach children about body ownership, and we developed a safeguarding through play policy. Lizzie had effected true change, not just for herself, but for us, and actually for all the other children as well. And when she went home, she told her parents what had happened, and they asked her how she felt. And this very little girl who had effected true change said, "I feel like a giant." Isn't it time that we gave all children the tools with which to communicate powerfully and meaningfully with us and society? Imagine the kind of world that would be.